Independence, a small normal community in northeast Iowa, the town I grew up in but never wanted to grow old in. After I'd lived here for 20 years, I had one thought on my mind, and that was leaving Independence. Leaving to find a city, a place with more opportunity, more diversity, and more people like me. But now I've returned to see why the locals will continue to live in this small Midwest community. Do you enjoy living in the town that you live in?
Kinda.
Sure.
Do you have any desire to live in a city someday?
No, not really.
So you want to live in a small town?
Yeah, I kinda like small towns.
Very interesting. These young guns don't seem to mind small towns.
I've lived here all my life.
Have you ever thought of living in a city?
Not really. we have children in the big cities, and I'm glad to get out of them.
Do you enjoy living in this town?
I like it here, yeah, it's a nice town.
How long have you lived here?
Since 5th grade, now 12 years.
12 years.
I moved here 42 years ago.
42 years ago. Did you live in a city before that?
I lived in Cory.
So what are the good things about living in this small town?
In Independence.
Yeah.
Well, it's a thriving town due to the fact that we're on the 4-lane highway south of town that leads between major towns in Iowa, such as Dubuque and Waterloo.
Aha! So a good thing about living here is that it's close to cities. And why would that matter? Maybe because cities have things that small towns don't have. Let's continue. Do you enjoy living in this town?
Yes.
No.
What don't you like about living in a small town? Seriously, like.
Lots of families.
Do you enjoy living in this town?
Well, I don't live here. I've been here for 25 years. I moved to Cedar Rapids. But yes, I do enjoy Independence.
Do you travel from Cedar Rapids?
Yes, I know. Now, if you live in Cedar Rapids, of course, on the other hand, you've got everything more available. And it's a community that's about a couple 100,000 people. It has its advantages, too, because you got, closeness to the areas you want to shop and so on. And so that's one good thing about having a store in a small town is that you can offer service. You can offer a good product at a competitive price because you don't have the overhead that you have in bigger cities like the malls and stuff like that. Our business is basically popular price and better price merchandise for women with service that the malls carry. And so we can offer it to them cheaper, and we give them a lot better service.
The town's okay. It's big enough that it has everything we need, but it's still small enough that we don't have to deal with like the crime and stuff. That's nice.
Yeah.
I can let my kids outside till dark without worrying about them. But
Yeah. Do you enjoy living in this town?
Yes,
How long have you lived here?
31 years.
Have you ever thought of living in a city?
Like a bigger city, maybe?
No.
What are the good things about living in this town compared to living in a city, do you think?
Good things about living in this town, well, especially from working at the furniture store and stuff, I know a lot of the people that from town, and so you get to know a lot of people, and
Would you say that generally helps business more?
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Do you enjoy living in this town?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived here?
I have lived here since 1980.
And do you get lots of business here?
It goes in spurts.
It goes in spurts?
Yep, seasonal and stuff. So, right now we're getting into the busy time, so it's been going good.
Have you ever thought about living in a city?
I have lived in the city and I enjoy this.
Oh, you enjoy the small town better?
Yes, sir.
What's better about a small town?
You get to know your people. And you
Okay.
get a feel for what they shop for and the important parts of their lives like births, deaths, weddings.
And everybody seems to be friendly and everything, and they get to know you, and you're walking down the street, and they go, hey.
Yeah. So do you think it's a better place to raise kids, too? In a small town?
Oh, sure. I think so, but I haven't really lived in a big town.
Yeah.
But I would assume so, because I know lots of people that'll move to a big or small town to get away from the big one, especially when they have kids.
How do you rank, or what would you say the education system is in this this kind of smaller town?
Really good.
I
My
would
son's teacher lives right across the street, and that's what's great about it. Because I've known her forever, and it's because it's a small town. So if I have any problems, I can go right across the street and knock on her door. I loved the Independence High School. It was such a small town. You could see your teachers or your principal or whatever out in the town, and I think it was awesome. I loved it.
All right, we're at the Old Person Center. We just tried to film, but we had some red flags.
Old people don't like to be taped. We
I don't think
interrupted their Catholic jamboree in there.
They had some sort of performance going on.
Yeah, I was very moved.
We might change this movie to about how it's impossible to make films in small towns. What are the good things about living here in Independence?
I don't know. I like the size of town. Everybody is pretty friendly. You know, I just get along well. It's a nice community to have raise the kids. And
So would you say it helps the business and the social side of it, or
Yes, sir.
do they kind of intermingle too?
Yep,
All right.
yep, yep.
Do you think education is better in small towns compared to cities?
In a way, class sizes are nice, but it might hinder when kids go off to the, like the state colleges where the
Yeah, there's
class
not very much
sizes are-
diversity in
No.
small towns.
No,
They don't get like rural experience in these small.
right.
So it seems to me, small towns don't have the social diversity only attainable in cities.
I think in the big cities, there's more, crime and stuff like that, and so maybe, they don't.
Aren't as sociable amongst each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, not so-
Strangers, maybe.
Not so freely.
Yeah.
Not so freely.
What are the good things about living in Independence, like a small town?
You know everybody, you never have to worry about anything, because if you ever have any problems, you can always run into somebody you know.
What do you think would be the good things about living in a city?
A lot more convenient. You need something, you don't gotta go out of town to get it.
So did your kids grow up going to school in cities and in small towns?
My children were raised in small communities like Independence. I lived in Storm Lake and a town like this in western Iowa. And my kids both live in one lives in Duluth, Minnesota, and one lives in St. Peter, Minnesota. They've lived in Florida, they've lived in Memphis, they lived in different areas. And they like small towns because they feel, you feel more of a part of the community.
So after 20 years, I learned this place isn't that bad after all. 8 people for small towns and 2 for cities gave me 10 reasons why small towns are good, and 5 reasons why cities are better. In the end, I've realized the ups and downs don't really matter. I'm pretty sure filmmakers get to travel to towns and cities of all shapes and sizes. One thing that sucks about small towns is if a train comes, there's no way to get across town because the whole town is split by this railroad track. There's 3 ways to cross this railroad track, but the train cuts the whole town in half.
We're on the wrong side of the tracks now, guys.